Okay, so we are working on part 3 now. Now, if you can even imagine when you do somebody's birth chart, it literally is like unpeeling an onion. It can get so involved because I'm just now talking about your basic, straightforward, one-dimensional planets right now. But as we go deeper into this, we start to look at how these planets cross each other and what vibrations, what energies they create, positive and negative. So it gets a little more deeper, okay? But for the sake of continuing on the basics, the one-dimensional part, and I'm going to see how deep I can go in this hour, but I'm going to continue to go with the basic chart as it's coming out to me. The next thing we're going to talk about is generational planets, and I'm going to talk fairly briefly about these because there's a lot of other good stuff to get to. But we were all born in different generational planetary periods, okay? So, for example, Neptune is a planet that takes 165 years to get around the sun. So when you were born, and also when I was born, in this 10-year period from like 1960 to 74, I believe, 1974, Neptune was in Scorpio. Okay, so we hear about our Scorpio a little bit again. So everybody in our generation, that period of time, we all changed. That's kind of when, drugs came into the scene, living together came into the scene, wild parties, way going over our limits. It's like there was no limits for our generation. Everything was experimental. We broke a lot of rules, that our parents, we hear our parents say all the time that when I was this age, these things didn't happen. So we were a generation that was willing to look into the occult, look into New Age, check out, question our faith, question our family religions, because Scorpio is all about shaking things up from down underneath. And so we all have this influence, this curiosity for life, this willing to look at all kinds of things. We're not so fixed. We're very intuitive. And, we became much more open to sex, much more open to different things. I mean, so many things now came from this period of time in the 60s that we have now in our life that we've opened up to. So good or bad, we are from that generation. Okay, so also you have what's called Saturn in Taurus. Okay, so we have another Taurus out here. When you were born, Saturn was transiting through Taurus. Taurus takes 29 years to get around the sun. So in our lifetime, we usually experience 2 Saturn returns. Our first one when we're like 29 to 30 years old, and our second Saturn return we experience from like 55 to 57 in there. Okay, so if you think back to your life between like 28 to 30, you probably will think, yeah, I had a lot of radical transitions during that time. What Saturn does is he comes into your life and he shakes things up. He is a disciplinarian planet, and he's kind of hard on you for a few years. It's kind of like you're going to get your act together. We're going to deal with anything in your life that's not serving you. So sometimes, some people have babies during that time. Some people get married. Some people get divorced. Some people lose a parent. When my first Saturn return happened, I actually had a baby and lost my dad and sold my first business. So I didn't even know about any of this then, but I had radical change during those years. Being that Saturn's in Taurus, that's a good place for it to be. Saturn is a slow-moving planet, and he likes Venus. Remember, Taurus is ruled by Venus, so he likes Venus. But basically in your lifetime, you've worked really hard. Saturn in Taurus makes people work. That generation of people, should say that 3-year period of people, if that makes sense. As you were born, it was a 3-year process. Those people in Taurus are very hard workers. And they're very calculated, and they do things right by the book. They just don't want to make a mistake. They're very disciplined and organized. And so the other thing I want to tell you about that's really, really important is that right now, starting in October 12th October 2012, Saturn just moved into Scorpio, okay? And you have Scorpio rising. So Saturn is going to influence you, if you haven't already felt it, making radical changes in your persona, in your outer appearance. Radical changes. And sometimes you might feel like, gosh, I'm just trying so hard and I'm not getting anywhere. Or, which kind of looks like you're doing really well, you know, you are getting there, but it's a slow process because he wants you to get it right. And he wants you to have good, solid relationships in this period of your life to go into the next big, long stage of your life. Because you know how life is. It takes us about 2.5 years to make radical changes. So since October, you've been really being pushed to make radical changes. You might feel that, you know, things are real, like you have to be responsible and a lot of scheduling, and it's really tough right now, but you're working so hard at it. Keep at it, because Saturn is influencing you right now, and he's asking you to really deal with those things in your life and get out the things. He's going to push them out that don't need to be there. And he's going to do good things for your life. But we don't really see those gifts until he's gone. So he's been there since October, 2.5 years. So we're looking at, let's see, 2013, 2014 and a half, almost 2015. You're going to feel like there's a little bit of heaviness on you, okay? So don't get discouraged if you feel like things aren't moving as fast as you would like them to in your career and things, because it's happening. You're actually really blessed right now to have this. We just went through Saturn in Libra for 2.5 years, and Libra is a sign of partnerships. So that's, I don't know when you had a lot of your radical changes, but I know I went through a divorce during that period. I went through a remarriage during that period, and that's what Libra does. He shakes up relationships. And the ones that can make it through us, Libra Saturn, are going to make it through. So whatever relationship you have right now, you guys made it through. You know, that Saturn in Libra. If you made it through, that's a really good sign. What didn't make it through needs to go. Okay, so I'm going to take another break because I got to go charge my battery. I'm outside right now. It's so beautiful out here. And then I'll keep going, okay? So I'll be right back. I need to go charge.